it looks like Australians are happy for state borders to remain closed in the fight against COVID-19. A poll conducted for The Australian shows 80% of people support border closures if the health situation demands it. The loudest voices were in South Australia, with 92% backing their right to refuse entry to other Australians, followed by WA on 91% and Queensland on 84%. The ongoing disagreement over border closures appears to have hurt the PM in the latest news poll, with the Coalition and Labor now deadlocked at 50-50 on a two-party preferred basis. That's Labor's highest primary vote since April. When it comes to the better PM, though, Mr Morrison wins hands down, although his support has fallen 2 points, while Anthony Albanese rose 4 points, his highest rating since May. Robbo, do you think the PM has misjudged voters here? He keeps pushing for borders to open, but these results do show people are happy with keeping borders closed.
Yeah, I'm kind of starting to get a bit off the border closures, to be honest. And this is a kind of a new opinion of mine, but I just think, aren't we all Australians? And the thing that really clicked for me was in your report there, you mentioned South Australians saying that they're happy with the border closures to other Australians. Now, as far as I remember, this isn't Europe, this is one country. I'm concerned now that it's becoming almost like a state of origin where, we've kept the numbers down or you've got bad numbers and things like that. We're all Australians. What's interesting is we talked on this program last week where Anastasia Palaszczuk said that a woman had to go and travel for 16 hours because she couldn't cross the border into Queensland. Now, all of a sudden, she's turned because of that awful case where the unborn twin died. So do we have to come to deaths where we remember that we are non-COVID deaths? I mean, do we have to come to that before we remember, we're all Australian, we're all on the one team, we're all on the one continent? That's what I'm thinking.
No. What's going on? Sorry, are you guys, is Ashton Kutcher going to come in and prank me? Is it punked? Is he going to punk me? Is he going to be like, hey, well, hang on a sec. Let me just quickly make an obvious statement. And that is that, look, the borders are shut and Victoria's in a really difficult situation. The numbers in Victoria are dramatically high. You want to open the borders and let that Victorian outbreak seep into New South Wales because we're all Australian? Like, hey, I've got the flu, why don't you have the flu too? We're all Aussie? I don't understand.
Well, no, I don't really think that. I just think that I worry that we're getting to a point where it is essentially, everyone for themselves, and I don't really like that for Australia. I understand that there is COVID in Victoria, and I understand that this is a new opinion. Like I said before, I'm still working out this opinion, so I just wanted to share it from that question from Rob.
Which I think is fair enough, Robbo. I think the issue here, though, is about containment. And I understand what you're saying, that it seems like a border community in that we don't want people to come in with the disease. And that's what we're looking at. I've got to say, being in Queensland, I'm actually happy with our border decisions because I have a relatively free experience to go out and I practice social distancing, but we relatively have normal lives up here in Queensland, whereas Victoria is doing it really, really tough. Do we want that to become the state of affairs everywhere? Because we know people won't do the right thing. We've seen cases where people are trying to get across the border illegally. So if we just open up the borders, I don't feel confident that people will do the right thing. And if it's in Victoria and we can contain it, as hard and difficult as it is for Victorians, and I'm not saying this lightly when I talk about the fact Victorians are doing it tough, but isn't it better that one group of people do it tough rather than the whole country having to do it tough?
100%.
Yeah, sure.
I understand that.
I take your point entirely on that.
Like, is it that we're all Australian? But that's what I don't understand. We're all Aussie, so we should all do this together. I mean, I just want to clarify that exact point because you are a smart man and you're a very good friend of mine, and I know you're very researched and you wouldn't be saying this sort of stuff, even though you are exploring it with us, which I really appreciate. I just feel like there must be something more to it than simply saying that we're all in this together because we're all Australian.
I just think, I appreciate what you said there, Ben, thank you. I just think that, to me, it's starting to feel almost like a little bit of a pile-on for poor Victoria, and Victorians are doing it really tough. What I just worry about is that we're starting to get maybe possibly caught up in, well, we've only got 0 cases, and we've only got, 5 cases, and look at Victoria. That, to me, doesn't share that kind of, and I hate using this cliche, but mateship and this kind of connection. And I just don't, I guess I'm sensitive to the fact that I don't want Victoria to feel like a leper as part of the rest of the country.
Well, we don't. And you know what? I think if we don't, we don't appreciate, like we don't. And I just want to say to you that you've never made me feel like that. And anytime I have felt really emotional about people saying, oh, well, we've got zero. Hey, I went out on a night on the town, or yes, I went to my sister's birthday, or sadly, I went to my grandfather's funeral. And all of those things happen. I rationalize that every single time. I know that my fellow Australians have my back. They have reached out to me a number of times when I've gone through hardship. And that is mateship. That is when Australians are doing the right thing. And we have to go back to probably the original topic here, and that is about Scott Morrison's popularity and whether or not this border closure is drastically affecting him. I think this is the Australian people speaking, and I think we just have to be. I mean, the thing about Scott Morrison that I never really liked, which I now feel like I can like about him, is that at least he's keeping his mind open and trying to think of what the best thing is to do for us. But I definitely think that these borders need to stay closed.
It's the Ben, Rob and Robbo